Welcome back to Stress and Purpose in Life podcast. This podcast is for you guys that want to live a life less of stress and more of purpose. And I'm your host, Stina, and today I have a very amazing guest here with me today, and we're going to talk about AI and human resilience and an age of uncertainty. Welcome to you, Michael Giuliano.
Giuliano, yeah.
So
Thank you
nice
so
to have
much.
you here. Wonderful. So
Lucky
you're
to be here.
a cybersecurity expert, well known, and you're here to talk about that. And
Oh,
I really look forward to this conversation.
I do too. Should be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. Yeah, and we will explore this a bit, like what is uncertainty in these times, and also how do we think about it in terms of trusting others and the society
Yeah.
as a whole. You know, that's a big question, and also like how do we as people work and develop in that transformation that it is, and how we must adapt to it in some way. So that is a really big question. It's a lot of uncertainties today and a lot of unwell-being. You know, don't know what the future has for us.
No.
So it's a really important topic. So let's us just start from the beginning. If you can just tell the audience, the viewers, who you are a little bit, so we get a view. You are based in the United States, either Ohio or Palm Springs, right?
Palm Beach, yeah.
Palm Beach, yeah. So
Yes.
go ahead, just introduce yourself a little bit for those that don't know.
Michael Giuliano, U.S., industrial and systems engineer with a master's in quantitative analytics. Started out as a microchip engineer, and I've got to do some really cool stuff, both launching products, leading elite teams, a little bit of everything, but I've always been in technology at the dead front of it. And then I think a big message that I can get across to your audience tonight is none of this is new. It's just a bunch of different words and a lot more oomph. So this stuff has existed since before I've been born. It just keeps getting bigger and stronger and faster. And ultimately, all these questions are going to come down to personal choice and how we choose to engage with the matrix, if you will.
Yeah, interesting. Because we hear so much about AI and digitalization at the moment, but you say it's been there. But I think now it's like reshaping us, and we are really, this is it now. It's going really fast and everything. What do you think is that the biggest shifts that humans need to face right now, and what is the future to come here for that? Because there's a lot of uncertainties going really rapid. And how do you think that how do we shift as humans for this? And what do we need to shift? And also, what is the biggest shifts that we are facing in humanity? That's a big question, but what do you think about that?
Would it be useful if I started with some foundational stuff, because everybody has a different level of understanding, but then also just so when we talk, not everybody has the same thing. They hear AI and they think it's laser beams and leprechauns, and some people know it's computers, and there's a big span on what it is, but also what it isn't.
Yeah, and many people think one thing about AI, but it's really multifaceted, of course. So just start from the beginning there. If you want to, like, what is AI in terms of?
If you look at the foundation, however long ago, there are these fancy things called computers, and the computers made information in a library, talk to another library. That stuff became online, and everything was available for books, for example. Then systems started to talk to each other, and they would learn the language. So out of books, they would learn language. So you hear LLM, large language models. So for a long time, these systems, everything's eventually on the internet. Why is it on the internet? First is because it was libraries put words in books. Later on, we started putting on our own information voluntarily. So in the beginning, it was, here's a picture of my face. Here's the shirt that I bought, the purse that I wear. We volunteer a bunch of information. That goes into another database. And so initially, there was a lot to learn in these systems, and they learned language. So maybe you have predictive text. You used to write TH and then the letter E would come after because it would predict that TH is the or the. Well, then it was the boy went to the, it wasn't what words it wasn't. And it was the boy went to the park to play with the dog, to play baseball, to whatever. And it kept learning what it was and what it wasn't because every time it typed wrong, you'd backspace it and correct it. So it started to learn a little bit words. Now you have the rise of social media. So what do we do as people? We love to look at ourselves. We love to take the little picture and the like and subscribe stuff. And we volunteered 100 pictures of our face, 100 pictures of what we wear, how our mouth moves, how we blink, our kids running. We volunteer all this information via social media to the internet. Well, those same things stop studying words and they study images. Now you can get pictures. Then they started studying how we talk, our intonation of our voice. All of that we volunteered as a population. So if there weren't enough people putting their own stuff out, there would be less to learn, right?
Yeah,
we volunteered for a good 10 years. Facebook, Instagram, internet, like and subscribe, filters to make us look good looking. And now you can use, what do guys do? They go stand by a car that's not theirs. They go hang out with boats that aren't theirs and fly in airplanes that they're just standing in front of. What do girls have? Girls now saw what famous people did, and they have the same 3 purses. They have the same 5 bag designers for stuff, the Louis and the Gucci's and the YSLs. They got the Birkins and the Kellys. They take the same backdrop of the same 10 places in Europe. They go to the same Dubai place. They come to the same US beaches. And what happened? We keep feeding back what it tells us to do. So it suggests pretty girl looks like this haircut, has this bag, wears this logo, drives this car, and has these sunglasses. So what we give it, it gives back to us. It becomes a big echo chamber. So the quality of information that we give them, they can really study us. Now what it's able to do, and AI is nothing new. That's a lot of stuff that we put out there. They read the books, they then did the language, they then did the images, and now they're doing the video. But we've been putting it out for 5, 10, 15 years as a world population. So now it knows what happy is, what sad is, what comedy is, what this. It's learning. A funny thing that I would say that's interesting where we're at now is it hasn't learned images yet. So artists may go on and get works of art and be perfect. But what did guys, and this is to make people laugh, what do guys do? I want to see pretty girls. Well, they got the eyes and the face real good. They got maybe some of the figure to look pretty good. But you get a girl that has 90 fingers. They didn't look at the hands. So the learning model focused on pretty faces from Hollywood, whatever the shape of a woman is that people do thumbs up to. But then they have like 90 toes and 50 fingers because nobody cared about that. So they
you have to care about the fingers as well then.
But those learning models, people do enough thumbs down because you have 10 thumbs, you have perfect face, perfect everything else, but then you have all thumbs and no finger. So it continues to learn good and bad. We choose to tell it what's good and bad. We choose to feed the model. And the big breakthrough now is in the computational power. So the chips have so much oomph and they're so fast and they're so powerful that to review this data, to process this data, to say good data goes this way, bad data goes that way, that is huge. So the computational power to go observe and get the info, to scrub the internet, to look at all the things that we put online, and then to learn if we like it or dislike it. Now they can be predictive with it, and they're getting pretty good. And the computational power is scary that we can get a little silly little telephone and we can generate a novel, a
It's
person
amazing.
that talks with us, a to-do list, and do whatever. And that's on something small. What do you think governments have? Quantum
Yeah,
computers,
yeah,
supercomputers. So if we can do that, how do we choose to participate in elections, in education? Do we
yeah.
choose to do productive, or do we choose to do busy? Do we
Mm,
choose to look at good stuff? I'll just say most men aren't on the internet to go learn math. They're looking at two or three things: fast cars, pretty girls, and the stock market and sports. Okay.
yeah,
Did you go read a book on it? Did you get smarter? Girls, what are women looking at? Fashion, this, that, gossip magazines, who won the Oscar, who had the pretty dress. Are they going on to do the same thing? Are they going in to launch a rocket, cure cancer? And
yeah.
no. So
No.
it's our choice how we engage. And they
Yeah.
give us back what we're looking for.
Mm. That's such a big and very informative. Taught many people now a lot about AI and what it is and where
Yeah.
it comes from, right? Because you never think about it that way, as you explain it. It's just there, and it's so amazing because, of course, we are a part of that, and that's also about the next question. Because if you're a part of this AI and the development, how do we cope with it? Because it's going to rapidly change us and humanity, and I mean, it has to do with human resilience. How do we adapt to that and be
So
part of it? Because do we harmonize ourselves, or do we like get into it? Do we like to have some kind of calm in it? Because we have to be part of it. It's there. So what are your thoughts on that in terms of human resilience in that case?
So I would say that I'm 47. So I went to high school when there was no internet and or beginning of internet. You can do a
Yeah,
library book. I went to college and I graduated college in 2000. And that was, you could look up the internet, you can see some picture, but the internet wasn't the internet yet. So there was no internet and then there was internet. Everything's connected. Now we've had 20 something years plus, but really 2000 ish to now. So let's just say a meaningful 2 decades where computers have built huge database. The computational power is so big. And the internet was a tool. Now you can let the tool use you, or you can use the tool. Most
yeah.
people had the tool use them. They volunteered information.
They
They
didn't know
studied,
about it. They didn't
right? They
think about
didn't
it that
know.
way. No.
Well, just like they say, if it's free, the product is you. All these services, Facetune, the product was you. The
Yeah,
Instagram, the product is you. YouTube, the product is you. All our stuff that we like to see ourselves, we're not newsworthy, right? Michael Jordan has never taken a selfie in his life because he's newsworthy. He goes out, he does his job, and he's in the newspaper. But magically, we have such big egos that we need to have our own little social media. We're not newsworthy or media worthy unless we go invent something cool we're important to our mom, we're important to our dad or our husband or our wife or whatever. We're important to our kids, but we're not important. There's only this much. But
yeah,
what this did is made us all feel important. So we volunteer all this information, and now
yeah,
the tool is using us to go and sell you back the black shirts that we have, or maybe
yeah.
you have better hair care products than I do, right?
I
So it's
might have
given
that.
us,
I guess it is that way.
right? So it's given us
Yeah,
back what we asked for. So the tool is
yeah,
using us. Now I can say that there's plenty of people that they do use AI as a tool. Now, a tool could be, I want to do iterative design. So I have a really good idea at work, whatever you do for a living, and I can come up and generate ideas quicker. I don't have to write the whole thing out. I can get to the point and I can expand and contract it. But it's only as good as my prompt. So, what I'm telling the tool to do. So, if I
yeah,
don't ask it a good question, it doesn't give me a good answer. And if I constantly am looking at, we'll say the bad stuff, you define whatever you think's good and bad, but we'll say the bad stuff.
yeah,
What's it doing for us? Now if I go in and I prompt it and I give it good input, it gives me good output. If I give it useful stuff, it gives me useful. So if I just say write my report, I know what every kid's doing cheating in school. I know that came off of ChatGPT. I know everybody who wants to be an influencer. Well, what are you really influencing if every kid has the same hammer, nail, and saw,
Exactly.
and you don't know how to use it? It doesn't make you a carpenter. It's a tool, right? So if I look at, for example, yesterday, I was with who I consider to be one of the top surgeons in the world, and U.S. News and World Report had this person as one of the top. What they were able to do is watch the surgeries that they do more often and see when they do great and learn from what they did great, and the stuff that the data showed that it wasn't as good or wasn't at their median, and tell them where it was off. So they fed them film, they fed them patient outcomes, and they're able to learn quicker, faster, better. There's teachers who can put stuff out and see how it's received by the students and run back tests. The last 5 years I gave this test, the kids were like this, they got jobs here. The ones that I taught this way became better students. Now, at the exact same time, there's people trying to make up imaginary boyfriends and girlfriends. There's people trying to do bad things. So they're using the tool for bad things. Also, there's plenty of people who are just average at work and they get this little thing and they chat GPT everything. So a long time ago, it was you used to have to count on your fingers. Then it was you were calculator dependent.
Oh, you have that there. Okay, that's amazing.
I'm a nerd. Of course I have it. I got
okay, of course, yeah.
I got I mean, if you really want to know if you're on with a nerd, I got one of these too. Okay.
Oh my God! Wow, that's
so the nerds, us nerds, we have this stuff here already.
Yeah, I can imagine when you're in cybersecurity, you have to have those stuff. Okay, yeah.
So you count on your fingers, and you weren't good at math. Then you were calculator dependent because you couldn't do the math. Now, how many times have we been at dinner or anywhere with someone or lunch, and you ask a question, and everyone's sitting there going, because they're just Googling what their opinion should be, whether it's true or not. We don't know. They can't
anymore. Yeah.
They Google fact check you. There's always that one guy or gal that you hate that when you say, I'm wearing red, and they go, actually, it's crimson number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I Googled it. Right? Well, now what's everyone doing? ChatGPT, la, la, la. So you went from counting on your fingers to calculator dependent to Googling everything, Google fact checker, so you can be the enlightened one and virtue signal in the room. Now it's ChatGPT, right?
And what is next then? Because we are getting more and more, less and less personal then. We get more stupid. Or what? We don't need to think anymore, right?
No, so people run business. People run businesses and adults run their families. The most meaningful thing you've ever done had no electricity, maybe the lights or something, but it was like this. It was in person. It wasn't like this. This is good technology, but it was in person. The most important deal you've ever closed was not on a Zoom call and was not by text or a meeting. If you go and make decisions at a company we heard of, it was done face to face. It's done with the handshake. So ultimately it's this. So we are as connected as we've ever been. We have the best tools. You're on the other side of the planet right now, and we're having an interview, conversation, high def, all the fancy stuff. So we're using a tool to do that. But we choose not to do that. When I come home, this is off.
That's good.
There's nothing on. I turn it off because I don't need this to play with my beautiful daughter, Anna Capri. I don't need this to go play baseball, Benjamin. I don't need this to talk with my friends. I need it to do work. But I'll say you on this, no text. I check email 2 times a day. I don't let the tool use me. I use the tool. Same thing with AI. I can do iterative thought, iterative design. I can ask meaningful questions and do better research. I can understand your perspective or perspectives better prior to an interview, maybe learn about your culture. I can use these tools for great. Or I can just make it be my new Google, my new calculator, or my new fingers. So this is our choice on how we use the tool. It's also our choice on how much we use the tool and how dependent we are. Because if little kids see mommy doing this all day, right?
Yeah, of course they do the same.
They do the same. And if they see dad doing this all day and then doing this all day, and they see mom and dad doing this all day, or
it's horrible.
Doing doing
That's
this all
good.
day, they're going to mimic us. So that's our choice. What are we doing with these tools? They're great tools, but are we doing the right things with them?
Yeah, and I can tell you something, because here in Sweden, I live in Sweden, and we have a lot in the news right now about the development that younger children are saying no to the telephone, mobile phone, because they have too much information. So I think
That's
that
right.
development for hopefully next generation is like, oh, I don't want that. It's like information overload.
I believe that they do, because my son, who's 10, said, and he said it a funny way when he was little. He said, I want to invent a phone breaker so people don't go like this all day.
No.
And what he sees is when daddy, this isn't a phone, this is a computer. The important people, see?
Yeah, that one, I would like to have that one again. That's better.
Yeah. Nokia, right? $50.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's a phone. We talk on it. Wow. So would you imagine that a person that has one of these has this off, and if someone needs to talk to me, this is $50, right?
You are such a role model. This is really amazing, because this people need to hear. I hope that it's a development that really gonna be that way.
And I'm in tech, so I should be with all this fancy stuff.
Yeah, but you perhaps you have so much information. I mean, people that are like me. I'm sitting a lot in the computer, but I also have I have the mobile phone as a tool as well. But it's so much stuff there on that you have to use it. But then I guess, okay, perhaps the younger generation now do what you do. Buy no smartphones. Stop the smartphones.
Well, the smartphones aren't smart. The people are dumb, and the phone is now their brain.
Yeah. But if you talk more about this, about like with AI, how it rises and everything also, of course, it has to do the digitalization and mobile phone also. But I'm just curious, because people are like, when we talk about uncertainty in future regarding this, you told me about this. There's a lot of positive things you can use with AI. But people say, okay, what about the jobs? What about the privacy? But what about the sense of identity? You know, people get stuck in that focus when you talk about AI. Yeah. And then I want to go into this about trust. That what is the future of trust?
I want to talk about the job stuff. So I'm going to use America as an example, but there's an equivalent everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Not too long ago, when you went to school, college, like my parents' generation, you had to be smart to get into school. And college wasn't for everybody. We go K through 12 here, high school's 9 to 12, and then there's college. College has turned into 13th grade. 13th grade. Everybody needs to go to college. Well, now everyone goes to college because that generation, the boomers, said, we got to go to college, you can't get a job. So all the skilled trades went away. So now in America, who were very much a manufacturing powerhouse for a lot of industries, you can go to school for 6 years and get an engineering degree, and you come out and you make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to be an engineer. Very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But there's no welder, and there's no machinist, and there's no truck driver. And the truck drivers make $100,000. The welders make $80,000 to $120,000, and the machinist who gets an apprenticeship makes $80,000 on a 40-hour work week. They also make more than some doctors. So when you get too much of this, the skill stuff goes away. Now you're seeing, when I'm good at this and all this, what are my skills? I hope that I don't have 5 years of only being able to do math with one of these. But if you ask me what 2 + 2 is, I have to go. And that's what we've become at work. make the presentation. Well, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
a sales pitch that's persuasive for a person in a red jacket. Well, I learned nothing about you. So now, what is your actual skill and
Yeah.
what's your value if this
Yeah.
can beat
It's a
you
really
at
question.
everything? If
Yeah.
everybody has one of these and you can beat an unskilled, what is your real skill? Is your skill
Yeah.
listening? Is it talking? Are you a great artist? Are you good with your hands? Are you actually smart? Or did you just go to college? And you can't do anything without a computer. Can you get sticky notes? This is my day, playing with sticky notes, making process flows. Can you do a sketch? Some people can do a sketch, right?
Yeah.
Some people start out with pencil and paper, okay? Some people start out with markers. Some
Yeah,
people,
but where does that go? Do you think it's gonna go back to that, or is it something that, because I believe that it's gonna be like an overload of information that people get tired of this, tired of
well, they're
ChatGPT.
tired of it, but there's a double-edged sword now because if you don't use OpenAI, DeepSeek, Gronk, if you don't use it, I have a competitive advantage over you because I have access to so much information. And if my skill is asking real high quality questions to generate really good prompts, prompt engineering,
Yeah.
I can be an AI master and not even go to school. I just got to be like a little kid and go, why, why? And it can write code for you. But that's still not your skill
No.
because when they turn the electric off, are we just a bunch of idiots with cell phones? No. But I will say in the last 10, 15 years, finance, maybe. Service industry, robots have replaced CSRs. So where you don't have a high skill that can't be learned by a computer, you better be skilled.
Yeah.
Engineers will always have a job because they have to make it work, right?
Yeah.
Doctors will always have a job. Business people, let's say finance, what are you good at? Relationship management? Well, then good. You can build relationships and then it'll go on the computer. If you're selling stuff, I still have to be able to be persuasive or informative. If I'm an educator, I still have to be able to get a bunch of totally different people and read body language. So the core part, people who build things, people who make things, people who mine things, people who move things, people that create food, people, that stuff will never change.
No.
The actual job and the skills that make life go around will never change. It's these tools and how we use them. So if we've been programmed, no pun intended, to be a bunch of computer monkeys at work, not
Yeah.
allowed to think, not allowed to question, and then the system won't let us, and now it's just backstab and politic and kiss up and kick down, and we're all calculator dependent, that's a bad direction. So how do
Yeah.
we choose to engage? Do we choose to keep our secrets to ourselves? Do we choose to be the chat GPT wizard in our little office and not share it and make us look like we're so brilliant? Or do we share with the rest of our team, hey, I see you did this. I would have researched this before. I get it over here. I use a tool to do this. And now instead of doing a saw, now I would say the AI is just an electric saw, right? So you don't have a guy going like this to saw down a tree. They have a saw. So all the AI really is instead of hand tools, you now have mechanical tools. That's how I would explain that to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, because I think that if we could talk about the jobs and everything, people are scared about what you're telling me. It's about the human abilities and the characteristics and personalities that they never go away. And AI is there as a tool, and we have to have our skills still, of course. I would like to ask a little bit about, if we talk about AI again, and a bit like how we see it. There's so much more than ChatGPT, of course.
Of course.
But it's somewhere it will anyway have some kind of decision-making control over us, right? Because it is programmed and it is developed in a certain way. How do you think that will, do you think we have some kind of, how do we change that? Or do we want to live like that? Or is it something that we need to, because if we don't like this digitalization, if we don't like all the information overload, and we don't like to get answers quickly. We would like to have it as usual, as we did before, right? So how do we reclaim that control? Do you think we can do that?
100%. I would say that, and I'm going to go in a couple directions, and this is going to make people's heart beat a little faster or hold breath or whatever, but I'll use the States. I travel the world, and the US has 50 states. It might as well be like 50 countries, because if you talk like this, you're down in Texas, and somebody in New York don't understand you. And in California, bro, we got the surfer, bro. So it's like we got all different countries. And what Europe doesn't understand is the size of the United States. And it's not like when you're in the UK and they go UK versus US or France, or we could fit 5 UKs in Texas. We could fit 20 Frances and not 20, but 20 Frances in California, right? So they don't understand the magnitude. So now I go like this. What just happened here? We had the media tell a story, and it was delivered to us on this, and it got us in emotional land. And we had a certain leader, and they really didn't like what happened. And then there were systems that may or may not have cheated. But when somebody is that convincing and put up that much results, and the people liked them that much, they overcame all the manipulation. And so I would say, if you got the most popular votes in recorded history, you won the Electoral College, and you won every swing state, and you had the system against you and the media and the manipulated stuff and and you still won, you can't be too bad. But now, and in US, they're all happy. And that's what they voted for. Now, since that happened, I've been to 3 or 4 or 5 countries in Europe since that happened. He's the Antichrist. It's the end of the world. We're all going to die. Russia, China, US, blah, 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 blah. And what do they get it? Did you go there? No. Where do you get your news? Instagram? Okay, that's where you got your news. Instagram? Now, here, when we changed our government at the federal level, they say we don't need federal government. We'd rather have more state and local. So New York can operate like New York, and Texas can operate like Texas, and California, bro, can be. They can all have states' rights. So that's like EU versus individual countries. If I go to Sweden, Sweden's not the same as Spain, is not the same as Italy, is not the same as the UK, is not the same as Serbia. They're all different. So when we elect people that say, I don't like the spying, I don't like the privacy, I don't like the manipulation, it's up to us as humans, whether we take out the garbage or we are the top of the food chain, the people that we elect, because that's the one thing that we still do as people. We still go in and say, you or the other person. And as long as we're not listening to this thing, and we're not voting on social wedge issues or what our girlfriend thinks we're going to do at the luncheon or something, those goofballs don't get to manipulate the system anymore. They don't get to put their thumb on the scale. So if you're afraid of AI, not you, but if someone's afraid of AI, really what they're afraid of is their local, state, or federal government putting their thumb on the scale. No freedom. So there are countries in the world that the government controls everything. You can use a certain country that left the European Union and see how it's going right now. They don't run the world anymore, and they lost their way perhaps. And they're also not the powerhouse. Too much regulations, too much bureaucracy, and they don't make anything. They don't mine anything. They don't contribute to technology. You have people from everywhere else coming there, and they said, hey, country that starts with an R, we don't like you. But US, we don't like you either. So they've become, they don't like the country that starts with an R or the country that starts with the U, and they're about this big, and they have exactly no military, and they want to go send people to war. So you see another perspective. Now, the people there will say, you're wrong, you're a wanka, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Why? Is that your opinion, or did social media tell you that? Did the news that's manipulated by your government tell you that? Did you go to your echo chamber that you built on products you like with people that hear that you resonate with, and all you're getting back is a mirror image of what you like, because their job, the tech company's job, is to keep you on this app as long as possible to extract you. So that's a choice. Do I want to use the tool, or do I want the tool to use me? Because the governments, big or small, local, state, federal, or city, country, EU, or whatever it is, do you want them to use these tools against you? Vote the right people in and choose what you put and don't put, and choose how you use a tool and don't use a tool, and vote on laws that enable you freedom and don't have all these restrictions and bureaucracies. And you see a lot of countries right now that went, just like you said, tech went too far this way, now it's going this way. Well, in politics or governments, you're seeing countries over the last 5-10 years all the way this way, and now there's a lot of them that are going all the way that way, right? So that swing has happened. I really think if you're scared of AI, you either have no real skill or you're scared of your government, but you're not scared of the tool, because the hammer doesn't get up and hit you in the hand. The saw doesn't get up and cut you, right? AI doesn't get up and do anything to you. Now, people who want to do goofy things will use these tools to do stuff to you or to manipulate how you think and do. But so does Microsoft Excel. If you put in the wrong numbers, you get the wrong answer. If you don't type right, your presentation looks like crap. If you dress with your shirt turned on backwards, right, that's your fault, right? So how we use these tools is what matters. And when I hear people are scared of AI, they either are scared that they're not as special as they've told themselves that they are, or unique, and they're just regular. Here's a little hint. All of us are just regular. None of us have boats, airplanes, jets, Lambos, 50 Birkin bags. All that stuff pretend. And if you do have it, you're in the 1% of all people walking Earth. We can't have half of us be in the 1%. But what does social media do? Every woman has a $20,000 purse. That doesn't make sense. No. Every girl in college now has a Louis Vuitton bag, $4,000 bag. My car cost $1,000 when I got out of college. And there's kids walking around with $4,000 bags. There's guys that have $50,000, $100,000 watches and they still have credit card debt. It doesn't make sense.
No.
But what is that? That's us being used.
Yeah, and I think if we go back to what you said also earlier, because we talk about organizations and governments and everything about trust. If we put it on a more, because I have a question that I just came up with, because it has to do with, we talk about trust. And if we talk about trust, we think about AI and do we know if it's something that can manipulate the system? Do we know that we're talking to our loved ones, or when we are somebody's calling us, or those kinds of developments? That is what I think people are really scared about. Do we trust the system that much? Because perhaps you feel that, I think I'm talking to my loved one here, my dear friend, or actually it's an AI that just.
How do I know right now that you're not talking to a robot and I'm not talking to a robot? We don't know, right?
No.
I could actually be a robot.
That's something
and have
I think many people are scared about. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is something that many people think about. That is what the trust is about on a personal level. What do you think? What do you say to those people?
So at one point in time, none of this is original thought. We've seen this with everything. Somebody invented a car and then someone made a better car. Somebody made AOL.com and Yahoo for search, and now it's Google. Somebody made OpenAI, and then China does DeepSeek. But then Elon Musk does Grok. There's 3 big AIs that are free out there right now, right? So there's always, you did it first. Now someone leapfrogged and did it again, and someone did this. If I don't like OpenAI, maybe I go use Grok. If I don't like Grok, maybe I go make a new and different one. Ultimately, people aren't on MySpace anymore. They went to Facebook. And then people got done with Facebook and they went to Instagram. There's going to be something new next year or the following year, right?
Yeah.
So I think with AI, if we don't like what's going on with it, it's real easy. You turn off the app. It's real easy. You don't use it. And if you don't use it, they can't get information from you and they don't have you. So if you choose to not engage with what you know is wrong or goofy or just don't like, turn it off.
Yeah, that's a good advice. And then you think, okay, we have to get the information still, you know. But of course, because this is something to do with health and wellness as well. Because if you don't feel, because you can get unwell about this also. If you feel like, okay, I don't trust people anymore. I mean, what is that for kind of development? We have to have trust still, no matter what, because that is really important. We are talking so much. I have lots of questions here. Do we have more time? A little bit
Absolutely.
more time?
Absolutely. As long as I'll make you fall asleep, sure.
No, it's okay, you know, I'm used to this. And what was the time in the US now? It was like 3.
It's 4:40.
Okay, great. Yeah. But we have some time left then, because I would like to go to this, if we talk about this wellness and finding the purpose, you know, because I have my podcast called Stress and Purpose in Life.
Yeah.
And if we talk about purpose, I mean, if we have AI as a really great tool, and you talk about the personality, the abilities and the characteristics that they are still there, that needs to be there. But what is our sense of purpose if we feel that AI is taking over many things of what we used to do ourselves? Do you think that?
But no, I would go back to, if somebody hits the lottery right now, and this is very telling, you hit the lottery, you get $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. What do people want? They want to live somewhere warm, by a body of water, not have a computer, maybe not even have a cell phone, and just have good food and be around their friends. Yeah. That's it. Has that changed since you were 20 years old? Did that change since your mom and dad were 20 years old? It's never changed. Our basic wants and needs have never changed. Now, do we want stuff? Are we very vain now because of computers? We like to look at ourselves because they got people from the gaming industry and gambling to program these apps to get engagement and keep us hooked and make us share and take all our money. Well, instead of money like a casino with a slot machine, this is taking up our time. Time's money. So how much time has this little bandit of a casino, of the slot machine, how much time did this steal from you? That has to do with your health. If you're a woman, okay, I have a daughter. She doesn't use screens. She's not allowed to use screens, and I hope she never uses them. Because when you look on, the standard of beauty isn't real now. Everybody has a filter. Everybody color corrected the light. It rained all day except for that 1 minute that you got that one good picture that you took 30 pictures of and then scrolled through to get the perfect one to go tell your friends, I had such a great time in blah, blah, blah. And I was at this fancy store, and here's the picture of me by the cool place with the other cool dude. And that was one fraction. And we spend more time comparing ourselves to each other, our pretend, airbrushed, fake, color corrected bullshit to impress people that we don't even give a bleep about. And when you call your mom, you go, it rained the whole time. Yeah, the food was okay. But then I go look and it's like, oh, I was with the fanciest person, and David Beckham talked with me on the soccer field, and I drove a Rolls Royce, and I flew in a private jet. It takes 2 seconds to go do that. And now you can put backgrounds in. So what are we doing? So as far as stress, envy is terrible. Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. And what are we doing? We're comparing ourselves, especially women, are comparing themselves to an unreal, artificial, pretend thing that doesn't even exist. And now they have these AI women that never have a bad hair day. They don't talk back. They don't raise their voice, and they're impeccably dressed, and they never complain. Great, but where'd they get all that information? From women posing in pictures and showing what good look. So the computer keeps getting what you're feeding it, and now you have this unrealistic standard of beauty. What about being smart? All these guys out there. Oh, well, blah 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 blah. Can you launch a rocket? No. Do you have an engineering degree? No. Then why are you using rocket science words? To impress us? That's fake. Turn your phone off for a week, and I want to see how interesting you are at dinner. I want to see, if I ask you a question, are you looking to go use Google? Are you still calculator dependent? Are you still counting on your hands and fingers? Or do you actually have an original thought? If you take the phone away from most adults right now, they don't know what to do. What do you think we're doing with our kids now? Who do you choose to be? As an example, who do you choose to be as someone that uses these tools? It's our choice. So for stress, I don't want one of those devices.
No.
For purpose, my purpose is to literally hug my daughter, not text a smiley emoji and get on TikTok and be plugged to a charger. I want to go outside in the fresh air, not in front of a computer, and play baseball with my son.
Yeah.
I want to hold hands with somebody beautiful and walk down a beach. I don't want to look at a screensaver, right?
No. And that's
Does anybody ever go, oh man, forget going to the gym and having fresh air and exercise today. I really want to doom scroll about the end of the world on favorite, right? But what do we do?
And still we do that, many people.
But what's this? What are we feeding our brain? And how does that, the women get the unrealistic expectation? The guys now think they're a little bit cooler than they are. And they're not, because we're just a bunch of idiots. All guys are all idiots. Okay. So look, we got pretend girl, pretend guy. Everybody's Barbie and Ken, except we're not. We're just normal people. We have our kids. They don't listen. They do listen. They eat. They don't eat. They have a good day. They have a bad day. We want them to have a better opportunity than us, and we want them to be safe. So what's different? We just got some tools. That's it. How much of that do we want to spend? And our time is the currency. So how much are you letting this and this, the computers, the electronics, how much of your time are you gambling at that electronic casino? I hope it's only using for the tool. I hope you're not betting too much money in Monte Carlo.
That's so good advice, because of course, I think sitting on how many hours do you sit on a telephone? We have you can look at it, how many hours do you sit actually per day? And those hours are your hours taken away from you. So I totally agree with you. Is there something more that you would like to say if we look into the future now? It's like the same last couple of questions, just because what are you seeing, if the AI and everything around it? Because you told me when we had that pre-interview, but AI is good because it will help us cure cancer, perhaps. It's so much bigger, So what do you believe are the unique positive things with AI if you look at the bigger picture in the future?
What's unique is now that they made computer chips and processors, and they're so powerful that you're able to do things faster. Now you say, what things do I want to do faster? Do I want to look at lustful women in swimsuits and less? Or do I want to research how to make a car safer? Do the girls want to go look at purses and bags and celebrity gossip, or do they want to learn about something that they want to do to get more fresh air in the day, right? Like, what are we doing as guys and gals? I think what this stuff does, it enables to do whatever we want to do when no one's looking, right? Because ultimately, this is our little crack addiction, right? Our little drug addiction, our little whatever. How crack addicted are you to this thing that every time you're bored, you have to be occupied. You can't just sit there and be present and enjoy the day and watch people. The funniest thing that you've seen, you were at lunch or breakfast or dinner with one of your girlfriends or your loved one or something. You go, look at that over there. Ha ha ha, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't do anything for you. All this does is allows you to do whatever you choose to do faster. Now, if you know how to ask the right questions or do things with meaning, research, create something positive, whatever positive is, something value added to society, to your job, to whatever, it may help you. Like me, I stink at cooking, but if I don't know how to do something, I can look it up and I can try to do something with my kids. If I don't know something about a science experiment, I can learn something knowing that they're coming home for language homework and I can know the 5 words that they do and how to teach them better. I could be a better parent. I can get higher quality information. I could also teach people quicker, faster, better. Tonight, you have this. There's some clips in here that maybe somebody who has no education about computers heard it a little bit different from some crazy American, and they go, I didn't know that's all that was. I didn't know that this is just quicker, faster, better. Yeah, you're right. It is my choice. Well, I knew all that before I woke up this morning, but maybe this is kind of a little slap in the head that people need sometimes. So I think that if you want to do good, you can do great with AI. If you want to do good, you can do great because you can ask so many questions and get so much high quality information and then go do something quicker than read 5 million books, summarize a zillion lectures, do all that. So we could learn at a pace and we can consume education. We can learn about people. We can see where things went wrong and how to play it back better if we would have made a better decision. We can learn better, which was the whole point in the beginning. It was libraries collecting the library so we can get smarter. So what are we using our time to learn and get better, quicker, and then go do something good faster and more successful? Or are we doing it just for entertainment or vanity or something stupid? I'm not scared of AI. I love it. Now the people, it's a reflection of the people.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's a reflection of I hope for the next generation that they use it for something good. Yeah. That they realize that is something, because if we take the final question now, I would like to go back to what we started off. How do we find is it can we harmonize this? Can we make it can we be part of it in a positive way? And you're actually answering that question now. We can. Yeah. If we just choose to, and if we use it in a intelligent way, not a stupid way. And it's really great. You are such an inspiring person to talk to, because I love this, because many people need to hear this. And I think many people that are listening now, you sit on the telephone too much, and what you're telling me, use the AI for something good and use it productively instead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not using it for silly stuff. There's not enough time in a day. As we get older, there really isn't enough time in a day. And you have kids, you have responsibility, you have a relationship, you have your job, everything's increasing. So it's how do you spend your time? Are you busy or are you productive? Because you can do the good stuff quicker, faster, better, these are productivity machines. Now, is it going to be a productivity machine for you to be more productive? Or is it going to be a productivity machine for the tech company to let you be a zombie, to tell you how to distract you from your day, to go buy more crap you don't need to impress the people you don't like and don't care about? Which one's your choice?
Yeah, that is such a no-brainer, so amazing. Thank you so much. Can we round it up a little bit now? And where can the people, because you are traveling around the world, right? So you have keynote speaking, you're visiting, what are you doing? I don't know. But can people get in contact with you and in some way?
Yeah, I've very much limited on it. So with technology, I've very much limited my
because I realized
footprint.
that you said that to me, because you have you're not that visible anymore. You're visible, but not in the way that
I'm
I
visible to the
thought
right
so.
people. So to the
Yeah,
nerds, I'm very visible. To
yeah,
the people that make and break things, I'm very visible. To the cyber community, I'm incredibly visible.
yeah. Because
To
you're
people
known
that
there,
want
but
my personal information or want pictures of my little kids online or something, there's none. You're not going to
no,
find them. You're not going to know
no.
where my mom lives. You're not going to know too much about my personal life because I don't want you to. And
Yeah,
20 years ago, you actually had to talk with somebody to learn. I'm not volunteering up a bunch of my private stuff because it takes away my privacy.
yeah, yeah. Because I realized that when I was because I know you. You are famous also for me. From we connected a few years ago, and I really and then when I talked to you, I was like, oh, you're really famous in this area. So of course you know known in this area. But I would like to
And
thank
so
you very
you
much.
see, so to your point, exactly to your point,
Yeah,
I don't feed the matrix. I
no.
don't feed the matrix too much.
And that's a good ending sentence, because I think that is also very important for people to realize that we don't need to do that. We don't need to
No.
have.
What's more important than your time?
Yeah,
Nothing. Your time and your presence.
yeah,
That's currency. Money's not. There's no such thing as a shark that has money or a bird that has money. They have
mm,
time and they have presence. We have these efficiency machines that we get to be efficient in looking up dumb things to entertain us and be busy, not productive.
yeah,
How many hours? I would challenge anybody that's listening to this or hears this. Look at your phone. How many, not minutes, how many hours did you spend last week looking at dumb stuff that did nothing good and wasted your time? Take that and put that back into a walk outside. Take it into looking your loved one in the face and having a meaningful relationship. Have it with you got your kids and they're only young for so long, playing however many games with your kids. Or are you doing this every evening? My rule is this: when daddy comes home, this turns off and they get to go hide it in a room. And the rest of the night, until they go to bed, and if I need to make a phone call, as soon as the kids are home, I don't have electronics anymore. There's
mm,
no consumption of any of this stuff because it's a waste of time.
yeah.
It
And I agree.
literally is a waste of time, and we know it. You would
Yeah,
much rather go play a sport, go on a walk, sunbathe in a warm weather, go hiking in a park, do your hobby, knit, whatever the heck you like to do. Everything is better than staring at a glass rectangle doing
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
And it's
Really
funny
good.
when we say it, but get on the train tomorrow. Get in the train. See how many cars wreck because people are doing this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and when you wake up from that and you see that, it looks really stupid. I mean,
I
I
think it's
was on
hilarious.
vacation a while ago, and I was like, okay, the kid is sitting on with the telephone, the parents are sitting in the telephone, they are eating dinner. What is that kind of? It's really stupid. But I mean, we are like, as you said, it's like an addiction, and
Oh, it's very much. And
yeah,
I don't know, it's a crack addiction, it's a heroin addiction. People are addicted to more me now. And I would
mm,
just say, do you really think you're that important? You can go across any religion. You can be Muslim, you can be Catholic, you can be Jewish, you can be Christian, you can be Buddhist. Being
no,
full of yourself's not too good on any of those.
no, no, I
We
mean,
all know the answer. We all know that it's not great. We all know that vanity is not a good thing. We all know that envy and pride and ego, none of those are great things. So, what are these little ego, pride, and wrath? And I can be anonymous and say, you're ugly or you're fat or you're thumbs down. What is that? And we're the
yeah,
grown ups. We're the grown ups. How
yeah,
many hours did you literally spend of your life on a stupid glass rectangle? It
no,
didn't make you smarter. I hope it did if you use it the right way, but most people, it did make you smarter. Your day didn't get better.
no,
You got more stress. There's more stuff in your head that doesn't need to be. And now you're thinking, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? You're not
no,
missing anything. Life is right here in front of you. You're not missing anything. Throw that thing in the garbage for a week and see what happens.
yeah,
Nothing. Your life
no,
is better. You exercise more. You probably get more sunlight, more fresh air. You probably have richer conversations. turn your damn phone off. Turn it off.
Yeah. Wow, thank you for being on this show. This was so remarkable. I really love this podcast with you. You are amazing, and we need to wrap it up now. And I would like to just say thank you again. And for the people that are listening, amazing to have you on the show. And I think many people resonate with this and take his advice and put the phone down. And please subscribe to this channel if you really resonate with this, and because this is a topic that's going on forever. I mean, this is the future we live in, and we not need to talk about it because it has a lot to do with our identity and how we teach ourselves and our children to live the best life possible. So until next time, and remember to really listen to what we have told you here today, because we need to be more living less with stress and more purpose. And if we have the telephone in front of us, that's not possible. So I will leave it with those words. And until next time, and thank you for listening. Bye for now.